I think trusts are a funny topic because the real players know how to use them. And I've been very blessed and fortunate in my life to run into some very real players. Hence this call here with you. Thank you for your time, and I don't want to waste it. The real players utilize trusts, and others are daunted by it. It's too daunting. It's too scary for them. But you don't even just use them. You have an entire layered structure that you go through pretty adamantly. And something I didn't expect, which also has happened to me and other partners I've worked for in the past, is how many lawyers don't like you. Like, I know you've done one or two responses, but there are quite a lot of stitches out there of lawyers that are completely trying to disagree with you. And I've talked with the same thing for title companies. I've talked with them all day, every day, and they say the same thing every time, right? Walk me through here how you came to the conclusion of trusts, the value of them, and like what should people be doing to stop being so daunted by them, because it's not some black hat mysterious wealth preservation tactic. It's like right out in the open, and it's pretty, some of the language is more clear than other laws, but yet people are afraid of this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's been put out there in a way to make people afraid, because trusts are the most powerful tool that we can use, whether it's in business, asset protection, estate planning. Trusts are the underpinning entity of pretty much every institution in the world. I mean, if you can trace back the paperwork, everything is owned by trust. I mean, you can look on a deed on public record and see that a trust owns the promissory note, owns that debt, and the security instrument. And those are called REMIC trusts. They're real estate mortgage investment conduits, right? So I said that to say it's been put out there to be, some complicated, crazy thing that only the wealthy use. And that's just not true. But it's hard to come across this information because there are very few people that know about it and then are willing and can articulate it in a way that makes it understandable and digestible for the people that really need it, which is just regular people like you and I and our audiences, So when I got into real estate, I was doing real estate the traditional way and going through banks, getting financing. My business partner is a doctor, and so I was the guy on the ground. He was the financing arm, but we were still having difficulty getting credit. And so for 3 years, in 3 years, I did 3 fix and flips, and that's pretty much less than minimum wage. I was running a landscaping company at the same time. As fate would have it, I ended up getting fired or quitting my job. That's still up in the air, right? But that happened, and then we lost a deal where we would have made the most profit, up to that point, and it was because of the financing. So I had to make a decision. Either bet on myself, get into investing 100%, or go back, get another job and start at the bottom and kind of work my way up. Well, if I fail at investing, I mean, that's going to be catastrophic. I got a family, I've got bills, right? Just like everybody else. But I also felt the same way if I go start another job and start at the bottom, that's catastrophic too. So I might as well bet on myself. But there was a problem. I didn't have the money that I needed, and the banks were giving us a difficult time, and it almost seems like they want us to lose at times. But I heard people out there just saying that, they can do these no money deals or no credit checks. And I was kind of skeptical of it, but if people are out here doing it, I want to find out. So I started researching, but I had to make that decision first. And once I decided and went that direction, there was no escape route, no plan B. Well, doing research, I found a method where we can take over the existing loan, the underlying loan, and own that property without having to qualify for the debt. So we leave that debt in place. We just make the payments to the bank. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is amazing. This is spectacular. But is it true? First off, because it sounds too good to be true. And then if it is true, how in the world do I do it, right? So I just continued to research, and I found a lot of different people online that were doing this. However, there's a right way to do it, and then there's ways that other people do it. And the only right way to buy an investment property without having to qualify for that loan by taking over the existing loan and getting the deed transferred to you, the only righteous way to do it and bulletproof way to do it is by owning it in a trust. And so that's what got me started down the path with trust. So I started this as an investor to invest. And when I learned that, the only bulletproof way to do subject to deals was to put it in a trust, I just started to dive in that more. And my mentor is the founding president of the National Real Estate Investors Association, and he's the founding president of the Georgia Real Estate Investors Association. So he's been doing these deals for 40 some years and buying them in land trusts. So once I went down that rabbit hole, that's where I found out that's where all of the power was with trust. The real estate was just the cherry on top, because we've done a lot of different things now for not only myself on my portfolio, but then clients around the country to help protect their assets, to buy and sell assets privately. Because once an asset is in a trust, like real estate, it's no longer considered real estate in the terms of the law. It's no longer real property. It's personal property. And that makes it different. You can convey that differently. And we've worked with many lawyers around the country and many title companies around the country. My thing is, when you talk to them, you have to come in sounding like you know what you're doing as well, for them to listen to you. So here's the thing. We use it for investing and now asset protection and estate planning, now that I've built a portfolio. But even if you're a regular person, right, and you just own your home, think about it. We pay taxes in life. Always. So even when we die, there's death taxes, and that's collected through probate court. And probate, when we die, our assets go into probate and then they get passed down. So there's lawyers' fees, there's court fees, there's the other professionals like assessors and all, just a bunch of stuff where they take the money from our estate. So it's like we file a lawsuit against ourselves. So even if you only own your home, you should have that home in a trust, because a trust is the only entity that circumvents probate. You don't have to go to probate. So now, instead of paying that death tax, though, your home is passed seamlessly to your children or whoever that beneficiary is, and now that blessing doesn't become a burden once we die. It remains a blessing because we're not leaving them to make hard decisions. So whether you're the person who just owns a home or you're an investor, business owner, entrepreneur, operating in trust and having that set up is definitely super beneficial.
What's going on, guys? If you like that clip right there, you will love the full interview. You can check that out right there. I'll see you on the next video. Oh, and subscribe, because we got a lot of big things coming up in the near future.